All right. Renee talked about CarPlay a little bit. I'm going to go through a few of the headlines and current events, and then we're going to do the tech Q&A, and then we'll have the raffle. CarPlay is that interface that quite a few of the car manufacturers, Ferrari, you guys can rush right out and get a Ferrari now because they do have CarPlay in them. A lot of other manufacturers are on board. Within the next couple of years, you'll see them in virtually every car. The beauty of it is it's pretty much a generic interface that displays your iPhone and only certain features on your iPhone. So as those of you that were here last month heard Tim Stevens talk about CarPlay, it will actually help with distracted driving because there's only certain things it will do, but it also makes it so your phone stays in your pocket and you don't even have to look at the screen. More and more stuff is going to be done by voice. I mean, Siri is the future, and it's amazing. I use Siri all the time. In fact, I have to send Renee a note because I have an older Chrysler Pacifica. I have a 2005 Chrysler Pacifica, and I got a Parrot wireless Bluetooth that goes in and hooks into my radio there. It was around $200 or something. But I tap one button and Siri fires up, and there's a microphone mounted up here, and then it comes through my regular car speakers. But just announced today is Pioneer, and I'll show the website after this, Pioneer, which makes in-dash car stereos aftermarket, and so does Alpine, are now, because we weren't sure about it, but now they're going to actually have integrated into it. And I think Pioneer is already committed. If you have an existing Pioneer that's one of 5, they'll send a firmware update down and make it so it'll be CarPlay compatible also sometime, I think they said Q2, so sometime in the next few months on that. Question, Jerry?
Is it likely to be upgradable in current cars?
No. Yeah, you can buy a new car. Sometimes that's considered an upgrade. But these, I did some price checks on the Pioneer ones. The unit itself is around $500 or so, but it interfaces with your phone. It's got GPS built in and all that other stuff. So Hyundai, a lot of the other car companies are going to be offering it. And again, the commitment from the car company is they're going to lose money not going to sell navigation systems anymore for $1,700, but they're going to sell you a CarPlay compatible interface for probably about $1,000. So. And you thought iPhones were expensive. So there was another question back here.
What did you put in your old car? You put a Bluetooth in?
Yeah, it's Parrot wireless, and it's a little screen with a little touchpad, and it actually interfaces in the back of my car radio. You take it out, and the stereo shops can do this, and then you buy a wire connector kit, essentially, because you don't want to snip all the wires and stuff, and it plugs in the back. The kit itself was about $80. But it goes through my speakers, and then there's a separate microphone right there. So what happens when I have an incoming call, it mutes my car speaker and then does that. But it also has the ability, I bought a newer one, where I can be playing a podcast from my iPhone or music, and it works just fine through it. And I'll tell you, I listen to podcasts all the time, and it's great. So it's like listening to radio without commercials. Yeah, I got mine at Amazon, Parrot Wireless, and feel free to send me an email and I'll show you the one I got. And what you need to do is find out if it's compatible with your car and then the kits themselves. And mine was a bit obscure, but there was a guy that made one out there, and it's just a matter of wires and connectors. I'm pretty handy, and it wasn't too bad to put it inside. Bigger iPhone. There's been some screenshots of a guy maybe having a little bit bigger screen. We think it's coming. We don't know what it's going to be. Apple has always resisted a bigger iPhone because when they look at their human interface, it's the span of your thumb, because if you think about people one-handing, I have short thumbs, so I can't do it, but one-handing across the width of an iPhone was the idea why Apple didn't do the screen any wider. But going forward, I know I love my iPad mini. I don't want a phone that big because I'm not going to do this. But with a headset, but somewhere in between, they're talking about possibly, I think, a 4.7 and a 5.5 inch, but we don't know. But I think they will do something. Apple's not doing it because to follow other people. I think they just kind of realize that there's some opportunity there. And again, remember they did the first iPad, and Steve Jobs famously said no one would want a 7-inch iPad, and it's a very popular iPad. Amazon, there were some shots today about Amazon introducing a phone. Okay, me too. All that is another vehicle for you to be able to buy stuff from Amazon. I mean, it'll be an Android phone with their specific thing on it. As I mentioned when Renee was speaking, this hit the news today. The Samsung Galaxy, they have a fingerprint scanner on it that's a little different. It's the old style, like you swipe. And of course, Apple came out with a fingerprint reader, so Samsung says, well, we've got to come out with a fingerprint reader. But they didn't spend the time doing the research and making it work right. It's already been hacked, and some PayPal accounts are at risk. And yes, Android phones can get viruses, and they're susceptible to this, to the Heartbleed thing, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. 2 days ago, T-Mobile, and so when you get an iPad, you can get a Wi-Fi only iPad, or you can get one that does Wi-Fi and cellular. To get the cellular version, it's $130 more no matter what you do. But you don't have to use the cellular, but you have that opportunity, so you're not stuck to just Wi-Fi. Well, T-Mobile's trying to buy your business, and they are offering iPad Airs, iPad Mini, and iPad Mini Retinas for the price of Wi-Fi. And I'll bring this website up in a minute for you. But you're saving $130. The only caveat is you have to at least sign up for their $10 a month plan, and then you're paying for it monthly for this, but as soon as you cancel the plan, you have to pay for the remaining part of the iPad, but you're paying that original price. There's no extra interest or anything else. So you're in fact getting free cellular connection on your iPad. That's nice to have, and T-Mobile will also give you a SIM that you can put in here, and you get 200 megabytes of free service no matter if you buy it from T-Mobile or not. I went and put that SIM in this one. This is one I bought it, well, from Apple, but it was AT&T. You go into any T-Mobile store and they'll give you a free, you may have to pay $10 for the SIM, but you get 200 megabytes a month for free of data. If you're a T-Mobile customer and you already have a voice account, you can go get the iPad and they'll give you an additional 1 gigabyte of free data with that iPad till the end of the year. So it's a great deal. I think it's fantastic. It may cause me to upgrade to the iPad Retina. So you'll hear me next month saying, hey, I got an iPad Mini for sale. Heartbleed. Oh, what? Oh, so, wow. Okay, what do I hear here? Okay. Heartbleed. I've had a lot of calls about this. It's not anything that's specific to the Mac. Who doesn't know, who isn't up to speed on Heartbleed and what it is? Okay. When we've all been taught when we go to a website and you're going to enter your credit card, you look for a padlock. Secure socket layer, that's what that is. It's very good encryption. It's encrypted when you send it. It's encrypted on their end, back and forth. It was very secure. It turns out most of the high-end websites developed their own, but there was an open source version of it out there, and there was a community that used these, and it turned out there was a vulnerability that just went unnoticed, and it wasn't like it was planted there. It's just like, wow, why didn't we see this first? And what it can do is, first of all, it really doesn't sound like it can do much. It can go in and get 64 kilobytes of data or bits of data out of this computer. So it might get half your password, but it won't get your username. It might get part of your username, but it's highly unlikely that there's been anything nefarious with this. The problem is it's an exploit that can be easily exploited to get more, they think. But there's not been any real harm done from it. But, you know, I'm not the big security guy, and I never have been. And Richard's the big security guy, and I always say it's between convenience and security. It's up to you to make that choice, but it's up to me to educate you as to where you want to be on that scale, and you make that decision. I think the best thing that's coming out of this Heartbleed virus is, or it's not a virus, this exploit, is how many here, like me, use almost the same password everywhere? That's where you're vulnerable. And if you think about it, if I've got a Wells Fargo account and I have my username, of course it usually doesn't store the password, but I'll sign into Wells Fargo with my password. It's probably the same password I use at Pizza Hut if I want to order delivery to my house. Well, I'm not too worried about Wells Fargo getting hacked or Apple getting hacked or Gmail getting hacked. But if at Pizza Hut, I use my Gmail address as my username, and I use the same password at Pizza Hut that I use for Gmail, if some guy who's underpaid, working late at night, he's really mad at the boss because he made him work overtime, and he gets in there and somehow he's able to get your username and your password, your username was Gmail, he goes into Gmail with that same password and go, oh, he now has the keys to the kingdom. Because he could go in immediately and change your Gmail password so you'll never get into your Gmail. He could go to Wells Fargo, and since you use the same password at Wells Fargo, if he can get your username, or even if he doesn't have your password, he can go, you know what? I'm Mary, and I forgot my password. And they email you the password reset thing, right? Where to? Your Gmail account that he has the password to that he's in and you can't get into. So, it has caused a lot of people to go in and change their passwords, but I would say the first and the only big thing you really got to do is change the password on your email first and foremost, and make it different than what you use everywhere else. And I'm going to give you a little protocol here that I kind of like, that I've put it by a few people and it looks pretty good. Actually, first off, this is and I'll have a link to this, we'll try to get it up to the website. These are sites that might be affected by the exploit, and it tells you whether they got in, what you have to do, etc. And this is the first group of them. So it kind of tells you who it is, what's at stake, phishing things, credit card, man in the middle, different things like that. So yes or no. The Bleeding Heart are the sites that may have been affected because they use this open source SSL. And the second one is the rest of them here. Okay, Cupid, etc. But look for the Bleeding Hearts, okay? That's kind of get a little political there, I guess. So you go through that. Now, I think it's going to be beneficial because it's in the news. Haven't heard of any exploits. More than likely, none of you are affected because it would have been a perfect storm for somebody to be able to get this information out of these computers. But I want to show you a simple way to create an easy, consistent, and safe password that's unique everywhere you go. I know, I've been to your houses, you've got those big lists, you've got it, this one, and then you got to update the list and everything else. If you could use your name in 1, 2, 3, 4, you'd never have to write your password down, right? I'm not saying use your name 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's very common. Oh, just use 1, 2, 3, 4 then, but then the easiest way, and I'm just going to use this as an example. First of all, I put MAC in here for Mac. The best practice is not to use a word that's in the dictionary. In this case, you replace the A in Mac with the @ sign. And those of you that have iOS devices, when you're creating a new password, think about that whole deal where you swap back from the numbers to the letters and the numbers and the letters. You don't want to go A1, B3, bing, back, because you're going back and forth to keyboards, right? So, start out with a base password. This one's very simple, Mac 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm not encouraging you to put that anywhere. If you take Mac 1, 2, 3, 4 as your base password, you'll never have to write that. And I'm not saying Mac, it could be your street name, it could be one of your kids' names, it could be a dog name, a cat name, whatever. Or just a random set of letters. It could be BCA or something like that. And if you take that base password without the plus sign and add 2 letters to it, you now all of a sudden have a more secure password because you've got a mix. And what I'd like to see you have those suffix be is, if we're using Apple, for instance, you would use your base password and the letters AP. So let's say this was Gmail. It would be Mac 1, 2, 3, 4 and GM for Gmail. If you're at Amazon, it's Mac 1, 2, 3, 4 AM, or your name, whatever your base password in AM is. So therefore, if I had made one for Pizza Hut, it would be Mac1234 with a capital M, Mac1234 PH for Pizza Hut. So if the guy working late night cracks into Pizza Hut and sees your Gmail as your username and sees that password with the PH on the end, he won't know that it should be GM for Gmail. So therefore, you have a base password you can remember, and you simply change the suffix. Now, do we see how that works? I really want to clear this up if not. Now, Wells Fargo, WF. Now let's go back to Amazon. Well, did I make it an AM or an AZ? Well, yeah, if you put AM and it doesn't work, you can go and put in AZ, okay? So more than likely you'll have a protocol. It's easy when it's a two-thing like Wells Fargo, WF, okay? An alternate way to do this is to make it a prefix. You put the AP at the beginning, and you should always have at least one capital letter though, okay? This is at the beginning is the best because of our iOS keyboards. I would capitalize the A, then put in P, MAC, and then I flip my keyboard and I do my numbers. And this is a very secure password, okay? Some sites, some bank sites require a little more, and you would add a special character to it. But the beauty of this is you have one base password. It can be 6 characters, 7 or 8 characters. You have to have a total of 8 or 9 characters total. So you want your base password to be 6, 7, or even 8 characters. I like 8 because there's some websites now requiring 9 characters. So I think you could try it. And again, the most important thing is to have your email have a unique password. And then as you go to Amazon, as you go to other places, you can start changing those passwords if you want to. Don't sit at home like they said on the news. People should take today off work so they can go home and change all their passwords. Well, you know, if it bleeds, it leads in the news. It's not a huge deal. It can be a huge deal, but the best part about it is it's raised the awareness, and you will be fine if you change your password. Unique passwords are very, very important. Any questions on password? Oh, by the way, I think I'll do the first class, or the class at the beginning of next month. On the Saturday class will be about passwords management, and I'll figure out something else to go with it. But, you know, I got thinking about it. It's really it's the call I get all the time, and it's the question I get all the time. Let's make it easy, but let's make it functional, and more importantly, let's make it safe. Go ahead.
Do you recommend the software 1Password?
Yes and no. The question was, do I recommend 1Password? 1Password, LastPass, Dashlane, all those are quite good. And they will actually make a random long secure password for you, and they're very, very secure. The only problem is they make up the password for you. You might not even know what that password is. It's kind of like you might know the license to your car, but you don't know your VIN number. So what happens there is if you happen to go to a site and your computer got lost, or you can't get into your LastPass or your 1Password because it has a password, if you can't get in there, you don't know what your Amazon password is because it's this long 16-character string and goes from there. So Apple, on the other hand, is starting to now with the fingerprint reader. The beauty is going to be in the future, it's going to be a while, when all I have to do is touch the Touch ID, and that has my password stored in the keychain, and it puts it everywhere, okay? Certain websites won't store it, but for right now, Apple is not letting apps work with the fingerprint reader because Apple would never want there to be a vulnerability, and they have to make sure everything's good first so they don't get hacked like Samsung did. So 1Password, LastPass, Dashlane, they're all quite good. But to me, simpler is better. There's not a lot to do here. And for God's sakes, you don't need to write it down. You'll remember what those 8 characters are. You know, it could be the first letter of each kid's name or something like that. Jerry?
Some places require would not take my username as I have used it. So I've got different sites that have different versions of my username. So I have to write it down to know.
That's fine. Usernames are less critical because they can have your username all day long. In fact, in Safari, if you I'll bet you don't let Safari do autofill for you, but I think most of the other people do here. It'll usually, banks will let it fill in the username. But the username is less critical because they can have your username. It's your password that's a big deal. And when they email you your username, it's in the clear. It's not anything that's that protected. So, I have a couple of derivations I use, but for the most part now, this is the flaw, is most websites have you use your email as your username. And so therefore, if they get hacked into, there's your username and there's your password on their site. But if it's the same one you use on your email or the same one you use at Wells Fargo, ooh, hold on, Tiger. Go ahead.
I mistakenly downloaded Dashlane,
Uh-huh.
and so now I can't get rid of it. And anytime anybody sits down at the computer and opens up Wells Fargo, it's all there automatically.
You should go into Dashlane and tell it not to log in and your login items and stuff, because it's unlocked and it should lock after a certain amount of time. But so this is a perfect example. Here's something that's supposed to make it more secure and help him remember his passwords, but in essence, the way it's set up is making it less secure. And I'm not saying that's Dashlane's fault, but there's the password managers can do two things. They make it really convenient to help you log in, because that's the big problem is, how do I get into this account? I keep putting stuff in, boom, I can't go there. But it also can make a very long secure password, which is very safe and secure, but in your case, you can see where it goes the other way. So nothing's perfect.
Well, it certainly is not. And I went in and said that it would be active only for an hour, and then it's still there. So.
Well, go into the settings, tell it, and have it not launch on startup if you're not using it, or go in and just mangle the passwords in there or something. There's got to be a way. If not, shoot me. I haven't used LastPass, or yours is LastPass, you said, or Dashlane. Yeah, I've never even come across Dashlane. It's had good reviews though. So let's see here. I want to show you the website really quick for T-Mobile. You can see here, basically, this is a 16 gig iPad mini. Would be $399 in the store. The full retail price is $398, and it's $16.62 a month for 24 months. And if you want to just pay for it, you end up canceling the service, and they'll make you pay for the remaining part of it. And you can or cannot have their service. It's up to you. You go to the 32 gig. It's the same per month, but they just have you charge you $100 up front. So I don't know how long this is going to last. It works for the iPad Air. Again, you're saving $130, but you're having to go through a little bit of hoop to get it. And you get the cellular version. Oh, I didn't point out. The cellular version of all the iPads, it's $130 more, but you do not have to have a plan. I've never had a plan on mine. But if you have the cellular version, if you use this as a GPS, it's as good as the GPS in your iPhone. And the reason for that is because the GPS, the real GPS chip, is part of the cellular chip. If you have Wi-Fi on this, you're not going to get as good of GPS. Obviously, the iPhone still has great GPS on that. Here was the thing about the Pioneer CarPlay. So it doesn't give a lot of information, but it's coming out soon. All right, so we got some tech Q&A, and then we'll get to the raffle. Had some pretty good questions here. 3 of them. Are there any more back in there? In the iMac, any that I missed? You have iMovie files spread over multiple hard drives. File management system to keep files in order over multiple hard drives. Well, first off, if you've got files spread out over multiple hard drives, the most important thing is make sure you have them backed up. Just because they live on an external, you may not have a duplicate copy somewhere. Files management for videos are pretty tough. You should be able to bring that file back and forth or just open that file. Since it's a pretty specific thing here with iMovie and stuff, maybe see me afterwards and we can go over that. A MacBook 10.7. When I move a file on my desktop to a folder, the message comes up, file can't be modified. See back of page. Then authorization window comes up and I have to put in my password and complete the action. Very annoying. Make sure you're logged in as administrator on that computer. If you're not administrator, you would have to do that. The other thing is you go into disk utility and repair disk permissions. And the worst thing you can, or the last thing you can do is highlight your little folder and do get info, get the info, And then in there, you can adjust the permissions. So it's kind of specific on that. That's something you can triage or look it up. Whose was that with the? So have you repaired disk permissions?
No.
Give that a try, because what that is saying that file may not have the correct permissions. See if that does it. Restart, and you can. It's in disk utility. Repair disk permissions. Don't verify disk permissions. And a bunch of gobbledygook's going to come up. Don't worry about what it says. It's all a bunch of things to try and impress you by making these fancy words and stuff, but it means nothing.
Thank you.
Sure. 2 more here. Is anybody getting certain emails from their MacNexus Gmail address? So this was one where they're not getting their Amazon, Netflix, and Southwest Airlines. Is that, Carol? What I would recommend doing in this case, so she has a Gmail account. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's coming through MacNexus, but she's not getting email from some of these people. I would log into gmail.com, go to your spam folder, and see if it's intercepting them in your spam folder. Not on your Mac. Go to gmail.com in Safari. I'll have to look at it, because that's the only thing. That's weird. The other thing you could do is sign up with another account, another email address at those accounts, and see. You have your Netflix isn't mailing stuff to you? Okay, I'll take a look at it for you. I learned online the reason my Apple TV slideshow no longer works is because the recent iTunes upgrade. Any idea when a new upgrade will be out? 3.5 weeks? I don't know. I don't know. Whose was this? The Apple TV doesn't do slideshows? She's got yellow pages. We can tell Carol's now. Was it the upgrade of Apple TV or the upgrade of iTunes? And did you see if you have an update pending on your Apple TV? Yeah, go into General and Settings and see if that does it. I haven't done slideshows on mine to know if it's a difference, so I don't. Yeah. You can restart the Apple TV too by unplugging it and plugging it back in. That'd be my recommendation. If not, write me an email on a little yellow piece of paper and we'll see what we can do. I'm sorry, I don't have any good answers for you. I'm not going to lie. Well, maybe not. Hey guys, any other questions from the audience? Oh, great. Before we go to raffle, do you have a yellow pad to write on? Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Something like 4 months ago, I bought something on the internet, and they sent me over to PayPal as an honor thing, temporary kind of a thing. So I did it, everything's fine. Lately, I'm getting messages from PayPal. They want to be my new best friend. I'm wondering.
I'll send you the same thing. I probably won't give the same
I'm
terms.
Suspicious of them.
All right.
Is anybody else getting that?
Yeah.
Well, because you signed up for PayPal. Now,
I only did it like a guest or whatever they do.
right, but you had to put your email address in.
Yes.
So they're soliciting you. And more than likely it's real. It might be a phishing expedition, but I doubt it. But the way to check that is you would go to PayPal Direct and see if it's there. Never ever click on the links. But PayPal is very handy. I book my Southwest flights with PayPal because I don't want my credit card stored there. And PayPal is owned by eBay. In fact, anybody know Elon Musk, SpaceX, Tesla? He pretty much started PayPal and sold it to eBay. That's where he got all his money to do all these great things he's doing. But PayPal's fine to buy. As a seller, it can be a little dodgy sometimes, but like monoprice.com, they a couple years ago had their credit card database hacked. I don't let places store my credit card with the exception of Apple and Amazon. Now in Mavericks, you can store the credit card in your computer and it'll autofill for you. But I would still use my PayPal and have it use my credit card in PayPal because it's really easy. All I have to do is my email address and I have some recourse with PayPal. Now, if you're buying something online, use your credit card rather than PayPal because you're going to get your extended warranty and the different features you'll get with the credit card. You have more support that way. But that's only at these reputable sites. But if I'm at a site I'm not too sure about, I'd rather use my PayPal than have them have my credit card. A lot of people have just one certain credit card they use for their online purchases. Don't be worried. You're 100 times more likely to get your credit card number stolen at the AM/PM station or at a restaurant than you are online. Go ahead, Jim.
So
I'm sorry? Oh, does anybody here use consumer cellular? Nobody? Friend of mine's a veterinarian. She's cheaper than I am, and she uses it and has had really good luck with it. And I think it can do iPhones now too. So, you know, in fact, that's probably what I'll do for the class coming up because so much has changed. I'm going to do passwords, and then I'm going to talk about the carriers because the landscape has changed dramatically. You can have a full iPhone for $30 a month, but you got to buy the phone. But still, over time, you save about $1,000 over a 2-month period or 2-year period. There's a lot of changes there, so I'll probably do that for the class. I'll do passwords and I'll do cell phone plans. I think that's pertinent to what's going on. So, but then if you research that and let me know, you can send me some links to it, and I'll add that to the thing because it's changed a lot. T-Mobile, I mean, even AT&T has an offshoot called AIO Wireless. Verizon recently just lowered their prices. So if you come to that class, I guarantee you'll get whatever you pay for the class back in savings when you find different things. But Verizon has actually, they're the last ones. They have some new plans out that not save you money, that's terrible. It's like, you know, I'm gonna get stabbed instead of shot with a gun. But in fact, they have some better prices coming, so. Anything else? All right, raffle time. I've got the winning ticket already right here. Pete's out of town, so little Tony didn't come, so I guess I'm the raffleer. And is the Oleo clip the grand prize? Okay. Sorry, it's not here anymore. What we've got is this Oleo clip is fantastic. It puts 4 different lenses on your iPhone 5 or 5S. And you have wide angle, telephoto, etc. This is fantastic, and it has its own case on it that you screw the lights on or the lenses onto. It's fantastic. So that'll be the grand prize. You gonna help out? Fantastic. The Bluetooth speaker we talked about. That's also a microphone. Oh, I read the French version. Excuse me. Portable speaker. MemorX portable speaker. Compact sound. Big sound.
And plug that one in there.
Yeah. Projects in all directions. Oh, it's got a real live cord on. Yeah, it wraps up in it. Okay. Battery operated. We have 2 different iTunes gift cards. It'll be a tough choice. This one's $25 and this one's $25. So we'll see what color sells best, okay? Oh, God, I should have bought more tickets. The Jot Not Pro. This is a fantastic stylus for writing on and drawing on your iOS device. And it's got this little indicator plastic thing on it so you can really tell where it's going. It is fantastic. Pete loves this thing too. And so now we have something for an iPhone 4 and 4S. This you put on the bottom of the phone, and it works like the old hearing devices, you know, or like the Victrola that has the big speaker coming out of it. These work quite well. And this is one package together, 2 hats in a bag.
Yes, sir.
We've got a MacNexus bag and some Apple hats. And that's a pretty good deal. All right, Rocky, you can draw. How's that?
All right, if I draw my
You got a lot of
ticket.
tickets there? Yeah, just draw it up to me, hand it to me, and I'll announce it. How's that?
All right, around.
They trust you more than they do me, so. All right, it's a green ticket. 025 193 193. Donovan. All right.
I didn't want to give him change, so I have more than usual.
Hey, well, it worked out. Perfect, thank you. And anything down there, we'll do this one later. You'll be back in the mix for that. Now remember, it's not a shower speaker, okay? Yeah, watch me say 194 this time, right? 025 217 217. Rocky, check your tickets. You got them there? Hey, here we go. Fantastic. He looks shady. I better check it. Perfect. Thank you. Keep hang on to your part of the ticket. Anything down there?
T-shirt.
You have an iPad? That's great for writing on an iPad or drawing. Cool. The Jot Naughty is gone. 025 182. 182. Carlos. We need an SSD for his daughter's computer. That would work, but we don't have one. Thank you very much. All right. All the speakers are gone, except for this speaker. 025 215 215. I was going to say, you were already walking up here before I read the number back there, Robert. Peter Killian. He's very tactical about when he buys his tickets. He does a great job. The pink iTunes gift card went first, so don't let your wife see it. And remember, you can always get iTunes gift cards when they're on sale. Put it in your account and bank the savings. Uh-oh. We have 2 tickets stuck together. Let's throw them back in. Sorry, guys. And I'm sure it was your ticket.
That was mine, yeah.
Both mine.
Yeah, both yours. That wouldn't have looked suspicious at all. 025, the last of 025, it's 299. 299. That's 6 after the ticket I bought. All right.
Oh. Gilbert.
Take the hats, Gilbert.
You and Peter are good about when you buy your tickets. Perfect. Thanks. The last of the iTunes gift cards is gone, so we've got the speaker for the 4S, the 2 hats. Of course, I'd have to find a friend to share the other hat with. Huh. 025 214.
You are a lucky day.
One number off from your last one. Thank you. There you go. All right, the last of our intermediate prizes. 025, don't it dare be Peter, 183. 183. Oh, so it's Carlos. Okay, so we've got 2 double winners here. So it's going to be a shootout when we get down to the end here. How about we just don't throw their tickets back in, right? We got the grand prize to go. Don't run off. We got the grand prize. No. No, you haven't won it yet. All right, we're going to put these back in, and we're going to really mix them up. Nope, that's fine. All right, oleo clip. Not margarine. We have to be old enough to get that joke. 025 244. 244. 025 2. Oh, you're not here. Okay. All right. 025 244. You have an iPhone 5? I think you did. You sure did. The oleo clip. That was fantastic. You'll be a hero. Thank you very much. Don't forget, we'll have that class. Don't forget to tell friends to come on and join. It's the best value in town.
How many? How many of these meetings?
How you doing? How you doing? That's great. Well, I can ask Jimmy.
Yeah.
How can I help?
Marcus guy Glenn is a roof expert.
Yeah, that's what I do.
it until we solve the issues that are there in Merlin and Ann's house. It's been going on for years.
Yeah,
We went up there, found the problem, stopped it from leaking. But it'd be worth it, I think, at some point, at least see if we can, I mean, it's, well, yeah.
send me your information.
Of course, on off, if those fine, I suspect one or the other.
Okay.
Of course, got all wrinkled and all that. I'd like to at least yeah, no, that's well, and I think that the power depth of that stuff, this interface is
Right.
but yeah, we want to work our way up. Try to be scientific. I can't remember if I have to run up onto the shingles or not. I did. I don't remember that you did, but of course I'm inside looking for water working my way up. Well, anyway, you see Greta's concept. Friday morning, are you?
Yeah, a way to do that, but yeah.
It's like he has this
I don't know.
backward pride.
I don't know where, how far I'm gonna
Looks like
get
Sigma.
on preparing. So, I'm gonna come over there Friday anyway. Yeah, but the potluck starts at 12. How long? So, hard for me to get there. No, that's sure it's well, no, it's at.
Yeah, shoot me an email, set up a time and.
Which is the other building.
I charge $75 for the first hour and 53 cents. And sometimes if I look and see what
So I'm hoping that apparently they've had some issues with the gravel, but of course it hasn't rained, so I don't know that.
Yeah.
No, but we ought to do a park in and around the building. We'll see how many people.
Yeah, it's
I made contact with people that were on my list.
So you got multiple hard drives with your iMovie files over
Helen
there.
Ross,
Yeah.
Lynn Austin.
That really.
Kind of like, yeah, that sounds interesting.
But basically,
Whether they really will or not. Sharon, I mean, I'm sure both of them are working down in Morgan Hill right now.
really want to use a new
Yeah, yeah, well, so Sharon.
So you can't use the ID. Well, I can use Roxy. Roxy
Yeah. I just because
Well,
either
Roxy
the
is
parents
easier,
will
I
be
think,
home,
but
or
what
they'll
you-
be in Europe, I'll give a message.
You can
But I
always
mean,
save it as a.
it'll be one or the other, they'll either be there and answer the phone, or they'll be in
So
Europe,
that
I'll
way
leave a
straight,
message,
you
and
save the file and then
they'll find the message.
open it.
But I got a message,
Well, you don't want to use the new one.
well, my message.
So use the old one.
Use the old one now.
We're going in for lunch.
When I told you I was late.
Well, what?
I can't come to the phone right now.
I thought you did that already.
This year? If your message when you say convert, that's allowed. You know,
Yeah,
that
but
makes
you're
sense.
Chuck.
You're in Europe, so you have programs so that messages don't sit there in the house and take it for 6 months before you come home again. So after lunch, I will send a text. But, because you finish lunch and went over to see me for a few minutes, and
It takes no time.
and when I got home, I'd send back to the house, I'd send a text. I'm sitting there waiting for me to finish with the customer. The phone rings,
So
and it's Hans
the
calling from
advantage to
Germany.
the new one is that.
So I'm sitting in a BMW repair facility, talking to Hans in Germany. Well, what's this call about? Well, you didn't even give me a chance to send a text. Well, it was just a courtesy call about the shareholders meeting on Friday. I didn't know if you were researching it. He said, well, we are now, but we're coming home
And drag it into
Tuesday
Toast.
for the meeting. So, you never know.
So-
Yeah. So I got
Well, see, everybody spends all this time on the screen that comes up when you first put the DVD in. People will spend hours making it all great.
Yeah,
But you know the problem with
That's
that?
me.
But
That's
you know the
me.
problem with that
Yeah,
is,
that's
you give that to somebody and they put it in. They
second,
think,
they don't
they
even
think
look
that,
at
no, they think that's the whole movie. That's the problem. I set mine to autoplay.
Yeah.
You gotta remember, you know what's going on. The person getting it wants to stick it in and play the darn thing. But no, I know what you're saying, and there, you don't have that kind of range.
Do it that
But see,
day.
that to me, that just clutters it up and takes more time.
And but my guess
I
is
think
that
what his
we'll
issue
pound it
is-
some spikes and I'll have some
Like
idea.
for
And
football,
they say,
he
Richard,
puts,
you have to
I
spend
guess
all
there's
the
chapters in
time
our DVD.
pounding spikes.
He
Or else,
can't, and he doesn't know how to do that in Roxio, because he, like in a football game, he wants to get first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and he
Because
skips it
doesn't
half.
have chapters, it has,
so
it has.
that's what I'm hoping.
I mean, it has chapters, but you can't change, see, what I do is I change it to quarters. I change it
Oh, so you
to
just
quarters,
record the whole thing.
I record the whole game and I go through it, and every one of the quarters, I change it.
But you
I
know,
also
you
go
know what
in
you would do
and
is
I try to make it nice.
you could export each quarter as its own standalone movie.
I've done that too.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about on chapters.
They
But
just
see,
take-
I
yeah, with chapters.
but God, they're not knowing how to do that. I mean, it's great. But I don't know if they know how to navigate.
I've gotten them accustomed to that, because I've been doing it for a few years.
Thank you.
But that's something that I don't like. But, yeah, I don't say. I know with technology, things are changing.
Now you can make sure you have those files. Because seriously, if they're on an external, they're not backed up.
He's got so many hard drives.
Well, but to make sure they're on at least 2 hard drives and
So he's
some.
got right another 10 gigs of hard drives.
10 gigs is nothing. You get 4 terabytes at Costco for 119, 160.
I mean, you gotta buy a 4 terabyte drive and then buy a 4 terabyte drive.
No, you don't have to mirror them.
What I've been doing is this, what I've been trying to do is this, I take each season and I add 2 pages.
Do you need a hand, Bob?
No, it's, well, I got it here.
For each one of them, and at the end of the season, I take that stuff that's on there, and I put it on, and then I just start a new one for the next year. That's right.
Archive it on a second. Because once you've made the DVD,
Well, I know, no.
I mean, second hard drive,
I'll put it on another hard drive.
but you've taken it out of your purple
Mac go.
Just leave it.
Yeah, I'll take it out like you do.
and it only exists in one place.
Take care of that.
Hard drives are cheap.
He's got a dead 4
Hard
terabyte.
drives are cheap.
Yeah,
He's got a dead 4 terabyte.
And the problem is, when it converts the movie to DVD, it downsamples everything. So you're never going to have that same quality if you have to go back to it.
Well, that's what I mean.
And all you can do is drag the files.
I'm keeping the DVDs, and also, I keep the events, but I get rid of the projects.
Well, you know what you can do is you can actually use a DVD, the movie project to a DVD, because the DVD will also hold just plain data. But the problem is, what's a game? An hour? 2 hours?
About that, about 2
About
hours.
an hour.
Yeah. So that's going to pretty much fill a DVD.
It'll fill it up. It'll fill it up. Some games I can't get a whole game on a DVD. Depends on how long they run.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the nice thing at Toast. It'll compress it for you if it needs it.
Yeah.
Go with the toast, huh?
I just like Toast because it's easy, but I understand you're being creative and all that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, much more
again,
creativity
I
with-
see
with
so many
iMovie.
people spend hours and hours and hours getting that first screen right, and then what happens is people think that they play this great music and they have an intro and an outro, and you've got it set for 2 minutes. And they think that's the whole DVD. No, it's not. It's okay if they just look at it. I don't mind the people that just look at it for a little bit. It's the other people that think, well, that was nice.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't know. I'm right now in the process. I'm gonna probably get a new system, and that's gonna be another thing.
Well,
I want to know.
You'll
when I
still
get
be
my
able
new
to bring
system.
iMovie over to it, but
Right.
it'll all be on the new Mavericks.
Yeah, I know. I'm using Maverick now, but
Yeah, then
But you
it
say
still works.
you don't like the new iMovie though, you're saying?
I didn't say that.
Oh.
I'm not used to it yet.
that's
Yeah,
it.
you said that.
It's not that I don't like it; it doesn't like me
I
yet.
don't really want to.
And I really haven't done much iMovie stuff, and I
don't really
had
wanna
the other
try
one down pretty well,
Yeah.
the old iMovie HD. It made more sense, but the new one is more like the actual Final Cut Pro, the new Final Cut Pro,
Right.
and people didn't like it in the beginning either, and
Yeah.
they're loving it now.
Well, I'm just saying because eventually you're gonna have to move.
Here's this one too, if you need it.
Eventually you're gonna have to move on because Apple's probably gonna cut the old iMovie out.
Well, yes and no. If it's 64-bit, it'll stay for a while.
Okay.
What's this one? Media library. Come on.
All right. Well,
Oh shoot!
play with
I can't.
do
show
you recommend rating all those drives together?
Not necessarily.
No. 'Cause
There's